Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to House of Joy. We are here. I am noticing that it's so hard for me to say House of Joy without singing
joy
or saying joy. Like, you could probably go back at every one that
and
I
we
intro.
say House of Joy, singing joy.
Yeah. You should see, at least you're not hearing our singing before
I think
cameras are on.
We should give them a little taste of it. We sang I'm the Problem, Morgan Wallen's new song. Emmy and I just sang it as a mic check.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it works
realized,
great. Katie loves it personally, she said.
Katie loves it personally. We also realized we're not exactly doing a mic check. We're more doing a fit check.
Yes,
and after we did a fit check on this one, what we realized, Katie said we look like a pack of highlighters. So
yeah, this one's you're gonna want to come to YouTube and just check this out.
I'm gonna dare you to.
You're gonna be like, need sunglasses probably.
You're gonna need shades.
But anyway,
we've got a lot of good summer vibes today, though.
We've got, we're loving summer.
Well, the reason we dress so vibrant and so summery is because we've got a little bit of a heavy topic today. Not heavy. Not completely.
Not as light and fluffy as we'd like to. We sometimes are.
But we are going to talk about something important today, which is the mental and emotional invisible load that we often carry as women. And I have gotten so interested in this lately. I told Emmy, I said, you're probably not that interested in it because you haven't gotten to the phase of your life where you're really doing this yet, except she has, because she's planning a wedding. So of course you have.
Yeah. And also I just feel like, I do think it's just normal for women, no matter what you actually have going on in life, to keep things to yourself. Even if you're a vulnerable person, there's still an invisible load that some people don't know about.
Yep.
So I don't even know if I wouldn't feel this way if I weren't planning a wedding, but I'm definitely, and hadn't been gone.
Yes. And the emotional weight of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty normal across the board, no matter who you are, what age you are.
Yeah. There is a quote from the Journal of Family Psychology that says, one of the biggest weights we carry isn't visible. It's the constant mental effort of being the one who remembers everything. And I'm like, oh, that speaks to my soul when I hear that. Like, all of the things.
Like, I don't know this personally yet, but, as a woman and a mother and, things are just kind of thrown off as being your job.
Yeah.
And there is so much that you're balancing inside of your head at all times.
Yep.
That no one can see because it's just like in you.
As a matter of fact, right now, as I should be focusing on a podcast, my mind is thinking about, oh my gosh, I forgot to feed my sourdough starter because we were going to make homemade tortillas because we were going to have like a Mexican themed dinner later. And I realized that I didn't do that before I came down here.
Oh, yeah. Like, the second I get on my email or my computer or anything where I have a task to do, I'm flooded with, like, oh, you should have done that. You could be working on this. Like, a million things. Like, a million things. And it's not even just, like, procrastinating certain things. It's just, like, that many things live in my head.
Yeah. And I did this exercise. So, back when we were, because I think when our friends are listening to this, we will already have finished with the Rise workshop. But as part of the Rise workshop, I talked about this on one of the days. And I went through and listed a lot of the things that have been occupying my mind for the past, month, few weeks, last few months even, and what's coming up in the next few months. And as I was listing them out, everybody was like, wow. And I'm like, you say that, but I bet you have the same thing. Like,
yeah, when you actually start
listing it out. Yeah.
It's like that thing we talked about when you like overwhelmed with your schedule when you just start thinking about, oh, and then I have this, oh, and then I have this, and then this, and then now you're like 3 months ahead, stressing about something that's happening in 3 months. But yeah, it's true. Like when you really break down your schedule, there's a lot happening all the time, and especially probably as a mother, it's like not just your stuff.
Yeah, it's like
everyone's stuff.
You're managing your stuff, which means like your to-do list, your job, your whatever. You're managing everybody's moods, or at least most moms are trying to. You're managing all the drama or the things that are going on with your kids and maybe even your grandkids. You know, all the stuff with your family and your house. Like, as I just started listing it out when I was doing this for the workshop,
you're like, oh wait,
I mean,
should I
be stressed?
Am I stressed?
Should I be more stressed? Because that is a lot.
Load.
Yeah, it kind of reminds you that, you know, we are, especially as women, we are really managing a lot. And it's kind of like your computer having 1,000 tabs open, which who's guilty of that? That would be me. And your brain isn't meant to function like that. So it can create a lot of overwhelm. And we'll talk about solutions, you know, toward the end. I have a lot of thoughts about how we can deal with this better. But I think the first thing is to just acknowledge it and to let ourselves have a little bit of grace for the fact that, wow, we manage a lot of things.
Yeah, because even for me,
people,
like as soon as I start being like, oh yeah, I do have a lot going on, my brain will immediately come back and be like, well, though it's not really that much. And everyone has planned a wedding. Everyone has done this. Everyone has had this much, and a lot of people have way more on their plate. So it's really not that much, and I could be doing more. Like you automatically are just like so negative about yourself.
Yeah.
And making yourself wrong instead of just being like, no, this feels like a lot to me, and it is a lot, and I'm going to do it. But yeah, your brain automatically wants to make that not enough.
Yeah, and there was a study in 2019 that talked about how this kind of thing disproportionately falls to women, but that even when you try to like even out the tasks, so if you know, have a relationship where both people are, you know, managing a lot of the stuff, the mental weight of it still falls mostly to the women. The women are usually the ones ultimately kind of taking responsibility for it. And I think about that a lot because like this year Tom's been in 6th grade, and it was a huge change from, you know, it was like middle school. So it's a huge change, difference in doing homework. And so I find like as the mom, I'm disproportionately involved in all of that. Like Steve is happy to help him with his homework. He's happy, and he did a lot, you know, but it's like I'm the one that's just taking like it on
in the background of your mind.
It's
like
always on the background of my mind. I got to check his backpack. I need to go log back onto the school thing. I need to see what's due. And then I can delegate and get help with that. But like, I think we don't give ourselves enough credit for all the things that we're keeping track of, that we're managing, that we make ourselves responsible for, whether we are or not.
Yeah.
But I just think, can we just acknowledge that it is a heavy load that most of us as women are carrying, mental and emotional. I think that's the other thing for women. Women, for sure, 100% carry way more of the emotional load for how are people getting along, and how's everybody's mood, and is everybody doing
like
okay?
Always surveying
the
temperature of every room and trying to
manage everybody's having a good time, or everybody getting along.
Consciously aware of it, like you're still kind of doing it, even if you don't realize that you are. Yeah.
And the other thing that I read when I was kind of looking up the science of this, like how it affects us, is that even you trying to do that for everybody else elevates your cortisol level. It keeps 100%. Your stress level up. So I was thinking to myself, no wonder I've had trouble keeping my cortisol in check over the past 20 years, because you're the one making yourself kind of
involved with everything,
even if it's subconscious, even if it's what you think about at night when you go to bed, you know, like, yeah. And it's definitely a contributor to why a lot of women struggle with chronic fatigue and getting into unhealthy patterns because your stress hormones are high.
Funny, because we've talked about this before, and I've talked a lot about, I mean, some of my friends don't experience this, but definitely some of them do, like your mind racing once you hit the bed, where of like, okay, this is what I got to do tomorrow, and then the next week, and then the next week, and like you're thinking of all of these like intricate details about what you need to do, and it's like all floods you, so it's hard to sleep because you're thinking about all of that.
Yeah.
But it's funny how detailed my brain will go into that. Like, I remember the other night I literally could not fall asleep because I was literally going over and over in my mind the details of like Haddon coming home from the airport, and like all of the like relationship things. Yeah. Like all the other people that would be there.
Be that? And who's going to be there?
His family's going to be there. And then like, I literally, that's not even happening for 2 months. And I was already like trying to like
at night.
Get it together in my head. Yes. It's like, that's crazy. That clearly has been in the background of my mind for it to be so readily available the second my head hits the bed.
Yeah.
You know?
And how that affects your health, how that affects how you enjoy your life today, how it can lead to burnout for some people, or how it can lead to like totally disconnecting and apathy because you can't handle
all the things,
all of it. Right. And again, I have some thoughts about, you know, ways that we can help ourselves there. But I do think it's really important to acknowledge it because most women are carrying a heavy load mentally and emotionally, not just for themselves, but for everybody else. We are, we make ourselves kind of responsible for everybody's connection and everybody's well-being. And, you know, we have to just become aware.
It's funny because along those same lines of just realizing that, yeah, I do think about things a little bit more and emotionally than Haddon, of course.
Yes.
But we were talking, and, you know, this is the first year we'll be married. And so it's like the first holidays that we will be married for.
I know. It dawned on me when I was looking for a place for us to go for our family trip at the end of the year. I'm like, oh my gosh, I texted you. I said, oh my gosh, you're going to be married.
But it's like, oh, well, we're going to have to figure out where we're going to go. And are we going to go to our house for Thanksgiving? Are we going to try to go to both? Are we going to try to do one and then Christmas at the other? And I was like kind of getting stressed about
that. Yeah.
And he's like, Emmy, we do not have to think about that right now. I was like, well, we kind of do. Like, right? We kind of do. And it was just dawned on me. He's like, he thinks I'm kind of crazy for already like trying to manage that in my brain, like how we're going to work that out and where we're going to go. And he's just like, we'll just figure it out. I'm like, well, we kind of have to think about that now. But he had not thought once about that. Hasn't thought about it since.
No, probably. And the other thing is that I think when guys come up with solutions for that, it's so cut and dried in their mind. Well, we'll just do this and this. And then
you're like, well, no.
The females are like,
you're not
what?
You're not considering literally every other moving part. Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah. So I think it might be valuable, and you don't have to do it, obviously, while we're on the podcast, but this is what I recommend first, is to make this list. So again, this is kind of what I did verbally, is I just went through the things that I could think of off the top of my head, you know, that were on my mind, that I need to be thinking about, you know, that are happening now or happening sometime in the future. But I think basically making this invisible load visible so that you can at least acknowledge.
Yeah, that's really good.
Like, okay,
this is what it's going on.
Quite a lot. Yeah. And I've done this with my coach before, where if I'm feeling the heaviness of it, I'm like, well, let me just get it all out. And it helps sometimes to 100%. Do it with someone else. But also, I recommend regularly that you're doing thought downloads or that you're doing brain dumps, so that even if you're not trying to do it, well, let me just get everything that I'm carrying right now, and you're not doing it for your whole life, but you're doing it for what am I holding on to for this week, for today, you know. So regularly getting in the habit of writing down, making visible what's invisible that you're currently carrying. So
I think that's really cool too, because you have the things that are like really easily come up in your head.
yes.
And then like the more you sit with it, then you're like, oh wait, that too. Because
This.
like even just sitting here right now, I can think of things that I'm like, oh yeah, I think about that at least once a day. And
Yep.
it's not even something I've taken a step towards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't feel like that's actively stressing me out. But then it comes
But
up when I start to
is.
think about what I'm not doing or what is
What
on
I'm
my
not
mind.
acknowledging. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's why I think the power of journaling is so important, because a lot of times things there will come up that you're not aware of, that you're holding. Maybe you're stressed about a relationship, or, you know, something that's coming up that you don't know how that will go or whatever. But it's a way to regularly, it's like a detox for your brain. It's like, if all those tabs are open, it's a way to say, let me go through each tab and see what's
Clear
on
it
each
out,
tab. What can I clear
or
out? Yeah,
work
it's
on
kind of like a
something.
mental
Yeah.
detox, or a way for you to really deal with that. And so it's funny, because even just when I did that with my group, it made me want to spend some time and get it all out, because I'm like, oh, just what I thought of off the top of my head in 5 minutes, you know, was a lot.
I remember, because obviously the wedding, a lot of those tasks just end up holding weight over you. And it feels like, and we were talking with Ellie because she was here for Memorial Day weekend. We've mentioned that. And, you know, she has a really stressful, like, just life right now, lives in New York and has a lot going on.
Yep.
And, you know, carries a lot of that same stuff. And
Yes.
yeah, when you are just living kind of an autopilot, trying to get everything done and just stay above water,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like you have the capacity to like even acknowledge that it's hard or that it's a lot.
Yeah. But then when you do, because we had a great chat with her that morning, you know, we were talking about that. But then when you do kind of get it all out, you're like, oh, I feel so much better.
Yeah, it
like you
feels
don't,
so much
I don't think
better.
you realize that you're holding it until you're willing to like write it down, talk it through, you know, really get it out. And I think the other thing that I realize when I do this, so I'm trying to remember the last time I did a real exhaustive list. I need to do it again because I haven't done it in a while. I did do a session with my coach before I hosted all the family, because I was feeling a little, there's so
Yeah.
much to do. And I didn't want to go into that week like feeling frazzled and overwhelmed. I wanted to be really present. So I sat down then and made a plan for, okay, well, what are the parts of it that are really going to give you trouble? And I was like, the food. I want to have the food all planned out and partially ready so that I don't feel like I'm spending all my time in the kitchen.
Yep.
I want to be present with the family. And so we made a great plan for that. It ended up being great, but I haven't done it in a month
that's
or
what I
so.
was saying. I totally forgot where I was going. But with the wedding, at the beginning of April, we had a new calendar or a new planner.
Yes, our planner came out. Yeah.
And I had kind of looked ahead at the, you know, obviously with the wedding, there's a lot to plan, but it's hard too because Haddon's coming back in August-ish.
Yeah.
And it's like hard because we have 4 weddings in September. I have 4 weddings to go to in September. And I really just didn't, my intention for the 3 months he's back before the wedding, 2 months, was like, I really want to be able to try to be as present and
as
not
possible.
so stressed about the wedding.
Right.
And so at the beginning of April, I made a whole list of like everything that was left to do
I
for the
remember
wedding.
you called me when you were making the list. Yep.
Yeah, and it helped me so much because it
Well,
did.
and right then, in those next 2 weeks,
we got
a lot
so
done.
much done.
Yeah.
And I don't think if I would have written it down, because you don't even realize, what is stressing you out and how much of those things on that list, like they weren't even that hard.
Right.
But if I wouldn't have like intentionally been like, okay, I want to get these done and I just need to get it out of my head, it did make the task a lot easier. It felt like, because it was just like kind of in a checklist.
Yes.
But yeah.
And I think the other thing that I do when I make lists like that is that I can see that there's a fair amount of it that I'm actually going to delegate. I'm holding like the emotional and mental, load of it, but it's not all things I'm going to do.
Yeah, or you have to.
Yeah. And so that can kind of help. I mean, that's why I think making the big list, can be something really powerful. The other thing that I find when I make a big list like that is that, and I did this about a week ago, I made a big list of things that needed to be done. And there was probably 6 or 7 of them that literally would probably take 5 minutes each. And I had been procrastinating them because I'm like, oh, I hate doing this kind of thing. It was like calling the bank and calling this investment place and setting up something online that I didn't want to set up, but it all simple. So after I made my big list, anything that I could do in 5 minutes or less, I kind of put on a separate list and decided I'm doing it today. So the crazy thing is, a lot of those things I had been procrastinating and I was holding the weight for them. But when you get right down to it, a bunch of things on that list,
it doesn't even take longer
it was so fast.
Yeah. And I think it really goes into, we have talked about this before, and it's a big theme in your program, is being addicted to stress.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us subconsciously almost crave that.
Well, we're so used to living
or we're just
in that.
used to living overwhelmed.
And let me throw this caveat in. If you do have a tendency to have a little ADHD, your body will chase that adrenaline kind of as a substitute for dopamine. And I realized that so much of my life, I just chase the stress hormones.
The stress. Yeah. And like, you feel more stressed when there's more on your plate, even if it's 4 or 5 minute tasks.
Yep.
That can live in your mind and really cause you to like be overwhelmed.
Yep.
But it really actually isn't hard to do.
Yep.
But usually our brain, it is so used to being stressed that it almost feels like it has to be.
Yes. And the thing that I love about getting it all out is that you can I think a lot of times when I do a thought download or when I have a session with my coach and I work through a bunch of stuff like that, it's kind of like a way of saying, okay, like I acknowledge, that's a lot for one person to do, or that's a lot for one person to carry. And then after I make the list and I, there's a lot of things on there that I can quickly delegate or that I decide, you know what, maybe I'm not going to totally redecorate. Like I can have some crazy things on my list. So maybe I'm not going to totally redecorate that room before, I have the family here in 3 days. Yeah. After I do that, the other thing that I really love doing is to reframe the narrative. So something that I've been working on for the past year is, and this was part of like the curriculum that I taught for my master coaches, but is that I have an incredible capacity. Mm-hmm. And I'm really thankful for that. I think as women, we're designed that way. Think of how our bodies have this capacity to get so much larger to, accommodate a child, to get so strong when we're carrying a baby, to, like we have incredible capacity. And I want to become a person, and I am becoming a person who can handle so much more than I ever used to handle, and it doesn't take me down. Yeah. I want to have a high capacity.
And I think that's where I think as women, you can almost use that sentence against yourself if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Because we all have the capacity, but that's if you are dealing with the emotional side of these tasks. I don't think it's right to just pile things on.
Right.
Keep piling them on because you could do more.
No, I think you've got to be holistically doing it. Yes.
So I don't think make yourself wrong. Like, oh, I should be doing more. This shouldn't be so hard. I shouldn't have to carry all this. Like, I can do all of this and get it done and not have to think. Like, don't make yourself wrong for having weight that these things carry.
No. That's why I think the first important thing is to acknowledge it.
Yes, but I think some people, and I think especially as women, like you really feel like you want to carry it all.
Right.
And when you hear someone say like,
I see what you're saying. No. And instead of, I look at it as a good, healthy way of doing it is to get it all out on paper and acknowledge it, and then say to yourself, some of this I don't need to do.
Yes.
Some of this I delegate to someone else. But what I decide to keep for myself, I decide with intention, and I decide that I have the capacity to do it.
Yes. And I just think that is partly like the problem.
Yeah.
Is that first step doesn't happen.
You're not acknowledging it, first of all. And then you're not choosing with intention what you want to do. You're just saying, I have to do it all, which you don't.
Yes.
Right. And I mean, I would say even go a little further. The things that I do keep on my list, I want to do it with my whole heart. I want to do it with joy. I don't want to do it and complain that I'm doing so much.
Yep.
I want to say, no, this is what I desire. I'm choosing this, and I'm going to do it with my whole heart. And that's way different than carrying a huge weight that you won't acknowledge, but you're kind of secretly resentful that people aren't helping you.
Right.
Which I used to do so much. I used to have such trouble with letting people help me,
Yeah.
Like a little bit of a martyr, like, no, I can do it all.
I'll do it all.
I'll do it, but
I'll make sure
you're
you
going to pay for it.
I'll make sure you know that I am about to die doing this all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, how many years did Miss Edie live like that?
Yeah, and it's really just not fair to other people because really no one is forcing you to live like that.
No, and nobody can hardly stand to be around you when you're such a martyr.
You're so overwhelmed, but also trying to like carry the weight of every world.
Yes.
And yeah, I do think it is so good to just acknowledge where you do get overwhelmed and where you can let go of things. And that is hard. That is really hard, especially when, I do have some things where I just feel controlling over it. Yeah. And you don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we have more control over what we are doing than we act like we do.
And one of the things that I've had to do over the years is pick my yeses really intentionally. Because I used to say yes to everything. Yeah. And then those yeses come with no's that are sometimes no's I didn't want to make. So if I say yes, I can think of times when I've done this. I've said yes to some speaking thing. And then that speaking thing comes on the one weekend that we could have had a really nourishing, quiet weekend at home, which Stevie and I love so much. And then I feel like, oh, why did I do that? Like I don't have to do that. And so I've gotten
And I probably needed a weekend.
And I probably needed a weekend. Yeah. And so I've just gotten so much better at what I keep on the list. I do it really intentionally, and then I decide, no, I have the capacity for this. I want to do this. I'm going to do it with my whole heart. I'm going to do it with joy. And that has really kept me from this sort of lie of like, well, I guess I have to do it all, and then doing it resentfully.
Yeah. I think that's really helped me with the wedding planning too, because I think early on you just hear people talking about planning a wedding, and honestly the most that I've heard is negatives. Like, it's so stressful, it's so overwhelming, you're gonna wish you didn't do it, you're gonna wish that you just eloped, you're gonna wish just do that's mostly what I heard. And I'm first of all really thankful for the amount of time that we've had, but also I feel like knowing
it has been
that
nice
has really changed my view on it. And like, I don't want to be stressed, and I don't want to feel like I look back at this time and am like, oh my gosh, I was so stressed. Why did we even do that?
Get to enjoy it. Yeah.
Like, I want to have that party. I want to have all of our friends and family there. I want to look back on it and have the best memories.
Yes.
And it does take planning, and it does take organization, and parts of it are stressful.
Yeah.
But if you go into it knowing how you want, if you go into it with that intention, it is way easier to have that experience of it.
Yes. And it's like anything else. Like, you can operate in default mode. And for years, I carried these kind of invisible weights that I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah.
And then when I did finally acknowledge them, I was like, but I'll just keep carrying it, and I'll be passive aggressive toward all of you who aren't helping me.
Yeah. And another thing that happens when you're carrying invisible weight of things is and this happened to me the other day, something, a small thing going wrong or a small thing not being right.
Yes, will set you
off way
out of
proportion to what the thing is. And
then you realize, like,
you're like, okay, definitely,
I think I'm under more stress than I
and that
acknowledge.
That thing wasn't actually the problem. Like,
yeah,
there was stuff underneath that I've just been pushing down.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to the thing that happened or the person that you're with when you blow up or explode or have a come apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's hard to know what those things are when you're so disconnected from yourself.
Yes.
You know, it's hard to know even what is under there because you pushed it so far down.
Right. Yeah. And I think it just needs, you know, just the intention that you can bring to it, the awareness that you can bring to it, so that the things that you decide, like, no, this is what I want to do, that you do it in a way that you're proud of. And you're not punishing, you know, everybody else because you're doing it. We were having fun this morning because, of course, it's filming day. So we had lots of stuff going on at the house. And Katie and I were like, Emmy is over there in the zone. And you're like, yeah, I am planning my honeymoon today. And you just crushed it. In like 30 or 45 minutes, you had all this stuff done.
But you know why?
Tell me why.
Because, like, for almost 2 months, I've been hemming and hawing a little bit about it.
Because you kind of knew where you wanted to go, and you knew what you wanted to do, and you were like, I don't know if we should do this or this.
It just felt like nothing was working out. But yes, this morning I just decided, made decisions, and yeah, I felt so good about it. It's like, it actually doesn't even matter what we're doing. It feels so good to have a plan.
Yes.
And yeah, but it does sometimes for me take a little bit.
But I feel like I've been doing that in so many areas of my life in the last, I don't know, few weeks. I just feel like I have been making decisions fast, like, you know, not letting things linger.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to turn this in. Let me do this. Oh, I need to make a decision here. Let me make it. Oh, I need to do this. Let me do it. And it releases so much of your energy. Like, you don't realize how much energy you have tied up in decisions you won't make.
And I'm so glad I did that this morning.
Yeah.
Because something as small as that, I know myself. Things like that do weigh really heavy on me and are in the background of my mind really heavy. And even though it's not like a heavy topic, it's just like feels stressful.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did that this morning because I felt like very free filming all day. Like, nothing else is really in my mind. Nothing else is really like tying me down. And I know that if I wouldn't have done that this morning, I would have felt like today a heaviness because that was in the back of my mind that I hadn't done that, you know? So it really can change how you show up every day.
Yes.
And how you know.
So good. So everyone, acknowledge your invisible load. Write it all down. Delegate what you can. Take things off the list that are unreasonable. I have such a habit of putting unreasonable expectations on myself. You should have seen my list of what I wanted to do in the house before everybody came that I took off the list.
Yeah.
If you think what I kept on the list,
you kept a lot.
Was crazy. You should have seen what I took off. And then with joy and intention and your whole heart doing what's left and believing that you have the capacity to do it.
Yeah. I'm definitely still learning as I get older what is most important to me and what I have to leave off the list. Like, I feel like I'm constantly learning, oh, that definitely almost sent me over the edge. Or, you know, I could have done more. Or, you know, that was kind of my mindset that was holding me back from that. So it is interesting to learn yourself because everyone's different and everyone's capacity looks different too. Yeah. But I'm definitely learning, like, I need more time to recharge.
We were talking about that yesterday. Like, I'm one of those people that goes hard. What was it that you told Elijah to say about Grammy's house?
Well, I was talking to Taylor. The grandbabies were here. Obviously, she does her whole Grammy camp. Like, it was amazing. But I was talking to Taylor, and Elijah was, like, near us, kind of. And I was like, golly, Grammy's camp goes hard. And Elijah turns around, and he was like, Grammy camp goes hard. His little 3-year-old self. I was like, sorry, Taylor. I don't know if you want him to be saying that, but
But he did.
He is now.
Yeah, that's so funny. But yeah, I have a tendency to go hard. But then I know myself. I got to have some real downtime.
Yep.
Like, I got to go away. I got to recharge. I need to lay in my bed. I need to watch.
Yeah, and I definitely need that too. Like,
Yeah.
I need a lot of that time compared to, like, going hard. I can do.
Yeah.
But I don't do it my full best self if I'm not, like, fully
Yeah. Rested. So good. Well, we hope this episode helps you. And
Yes.
hopefully you can lighten some of your mental load and your emotional load. I mean, we didn't talk as much about the emotional load, but I will say this. We have so many good episodes on this podcast about processing emotions. Most of our emotional load comes from resisting emotions. So we'll link some of those in the show notes for you. But I think that has helped me more than anything is that I keep those emotional. I keep that emotional.
will drag you down
will drag
so
you
much
down so
faster
much.
than a heavy
Yes.
plate.
Yes, it will. Like,
You know.
you can handle the heavy plate. The unprocessed emotions, the unacknowledged things that you're carrying that you won't admit, that will drag you down. So go listen to some of those. But I hope this lightens your load for summer. And we are so happy you're here. Do we have a few favorites? I have a couple.
I have a couple.
Okay.
Currently, obviously, wearing this beautiful striped knit thin Somerset.
I love the
It
Somerset.
is the long sleeve, but it's really thin.
really thin,
Like,
yeah.
I think it would be perfect. I'm going to take it on my beach trip coming up.
Yep.
It's from Amazon.
By the way, everyone, we're going to 30A to
Yes.
Santa Rosa Beach. Will this episode come out? Will it be?
We may be gone.
We
or
may be
there.
gone. Could we switch it? I don't think we could switch it. Okay. Anyways, even if it's after the fact, tell us your favorite places in 30A.
We're going near Santa Rosa.
Near Santa Rosa.
We honestly might be there.
Yeah, we might be there when this comes
when
out.
this comes out.
Favorite places to eat, favorite things to do. Let us know all your 30A secrets.
Yes, we're going there for my bachelorette trip. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, come to the House of Joy Instagram. Tell Emmy.
Yes. Another thing, these are, it's always a fave when I steal it from mom's drawer.
It really is. She
it's
stole
kind
these
of-
glasses from me, and I totally let her.
#free.
#free. They're so
I'm also
cute.
going to be taking these to the beach. They're like barely sunglasses, but they're like more fashion. I would say they're more for the fashion of it.
They're
But
so
they're really
cute,
cute.
though. They're
I'm
Eliza
obsessed.
Rose, I think. Eliza Rose? Something like that.
Johnson.
Eliza
Elisa?
Johnson. Elisa Johnson. How did I get that so wrong?
Yeah.
But after I got my colors done, everyone, by the way, you are looking, this highlighter color I have on right now is one of my colors. After I got my colors done, I didn't love those on me as much. I'm like, no, I need a lighter.
I like them.
You what?
I like them.
I love
on me.
them. They look great on you. A couple things that I am loving this summer. Number one, if you have not been on our LTK, we will link it for you. Almost every cute dress that I have had on for the past 6 weeks has come from Walmart. And I came down in this dress and Katie goes, "Where'd you get that dress?" And I'm like, "Take one guess." And she goes, "Do not tell me Walmart." I'm like, "Walmart."
It's insane what they're pulling out.
It's insane what they're doing.
I would say,
Walmart
I would take a
fashion right now.
gander that it's better than Target fashion.
Oh, 100%.
Target is going downhill. Walmart
is going
is-
uphill.
Yeah.
They have climbed up. So loving that. Second thing is I got some fun summer things for the house. I got these acrylic like tumbler cups that we've been using that are like red and pink that are so cute. Those are on our LTK, I think. Also, I got new pillows for my porch from Anthro. Those striped red and pink pillows are giving me so much life. So if you need a little fun touch for your house, a little pick me up for your porch or for your house, Anthro's got some cute
They're
summer
so
stuff.
cute.
Yeah.
They're so summery. They're so fun.
Yeah. And that is all we have for you. You guys, thank you so
Yes.
much for listening. We love you so much. We're so
do love you guys.
grateful for you. Thank you for sharing the podcast. Thank you for encouraging us. Thank you for being here, listening, leaving reviews, all the ways that you bless us. We are so grateful, and we hope you have a great rest of your day and week.
Yes. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.